the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Aaron Cantu, the Boxing Voice. Actually, let me start off with this. I saw you on Joe Rogan's podcast. Can you talk about that experience and just being on that platform? How was that for you?
It was really cool, man. Joe Rogan, it was kind of like unexpected what you walk into. Joe kind of keeps it, he'll let you know what you're going to talk about. It was a hell of an experience. It was great and fun, so I enjoyed it.
Good deal. Now, big fight, pay-per-view, a pound-for-pound fight right here, a legacy fight. What's your outlook on the fight, the keys to victory in this fight for both fighters?
My big thing on it is I got it a 50-50 fight. And, I'm friends with Mikey Garcia, but so I'm not being biased on either. Everybody's saying that Mikey's crazy for jumping up to take the fight, and it's ludicrous. I mean, they say, I use as an example Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao came up, he was a lot smaller man than Mikey Garcia. He started off at a lot lower weight class, and he jumped all the way up to fight the likes of guys like Oscar De La Hoya, who's 5'10", you know what I mean? So if guys like that could do it, why can't Mikey do it? Mikey's probably one of the smarter fighters in a long time as far as ring IQ and ring generalship. He's tactically, fundamentally skilled. So it's not out of the question for him to make this a hell of a fight. Do we know that Spence has an advantage? Absolutely. Spence is a dangerous welterweight, a natural big welterweight, and he can fight. So I look at it like Mikey using his advantages. He could probably break down and get through the tough parts of the fight. I think it's going to come down to the end of the fight, though. You know what I mean? Is Mikey strength and conditioning going to be able to hold up against a naturally bigger welterweight? And my opinion right now, I think it can, and I see it being an interesting fight. I really do.
So you believe Mikey has the tools to be able to weather the storm against a bigger fighter?
I think so, because I don't think he's going to be caught in as many storms either. You know what I mean? As far as my pick right now, or my opinion how the fight goes, I think Mikey's too smart to get caught up in a lot of that. Sometimes he's going to have to engage, and I guess that's where we'll find out, what could happen.
And that's what I'm saying here is...
my thing is I don't want to hear the excuse my language, the bullcrap on, while Mikey jumping up 2 weight classes, because nobody said anything, though, when guys like Mosley, jumped up from 135 to 147, and Pacquiao's, and these guys do it.
Broner went up to fight Malignaggi.
Yeah,
as well.
So why can't Mikey? We see what Garcia did to Broner. You know what I mean? I gave Broner 1 round. He put a boxing lesson on him. So why is this so crazy? You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, it's crazy for Spence to do it, or for Mikey Garcia to do it. It's crazy.
Do you believe Mikey has to put something on him early to gain that respect?
No, I think it's going to start out a slow fight. I really do. They both are slow starters. Excuse me. They both like to figure each other out. I think if anything's going to happen in this fight, it's going to pick up at the end. So I see it being a close fight, and Mikey taking some of them early rounds. I mean, because nobody comes out and does anything overwhelming at the beginning. Neither fighter. So let's see on that.
And then last question, what's more likelier? Mikey winning the decision or Errol winning by knockout? Which ones would be more likelier?
I wouldn't say knockout, but maybe a stoppage for Errol because of the size. We don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know exactly how Mikey will be able to handle that. And again, I call it a 50-50 fight, so if I give you an opinion on that or an answer, then I'll be picking somebody. Yeah. I don't know. I truly don't, because again, Mikey's a hell of a boxer. I know that Broner has lost 3 of his last 5 fights or whatnot, however that is, but nobody's handled Mikey or Adrian Broner like Mikey Garcia has. So that goes to show you that the kid can fight.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I asked that, is the path to victory that many people would believe Mikey would have to do would to be outbox and win a decision over Errol, because I don't think anybody believes he can knock out Errol.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I mean, but if you're saying it's going to a decision, I mean, we know it could go one way where Earl's picking it up and Mikey's surviving and gets to the final bell. No, you got a decision that goes to Spence. So you can't just say if it goes to decision that Mikey's going to win because it went to decision. You know what I mean? A lot of things can happen in the fight. But, I think Mikey can still enough of the early rounds. You know what I mean? I think that and come down to later rounds, I think Mikey's smart enough to take a couple of the rounds. So, again, this fight's not out of the question for anything to happen. It's not out of the question. It's not crazy to say that Spence could knock Mikey out. It really ain't, because Spence is a very strong, dangerous welterweight. But it's not out of the question to say Mikey could turn this into a fight, a chess match, or even a dog fight, and somehow come out winning the fight by having certain strategies or game plans. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's so interesting about this fight. A lot of people were knocking and saying Mikey's crazy. You're kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. instead of saying, wow, this kid got balls, is jumping up 2 weight classes, not too many people in boxing is doing that. Everybody's kind of telling him he's crazy and he's going to get knocked out. Hey, let's just let the fight play out, you know what I mean? And hopefully more guys in the same weight divisions get the balls and start calling out the other guys also.
And then last question, if Mikey somehow pulls it off, does that put him at number 1 on your pound-for-pound list?
Absolutely, and then it has to. And I think right now that pound-for-pound list is so up in the air. You know, I got guys like Crawford, you know, Lomachenko number 1. I love Lomachenko, but I think actually right now, skill-wise, he's probably one of the best in the sport. But he's kind of fallen back to me because he hasn't been fighting anybody. Not his fault, but maybe it's the promoter too, and it's the fights. Some of the fights are not able to be made, so it's hard for me to keep him number 1 right now, especially with his upcoming fight. So you got guys like Spence, you got guys like Crawford, Mikey, Canelo. That's all in that mix right now, and I think this is that big fight, especially Mikey moving up 2 weight classes. And if he could pull this win out, you have to give him the number 1. You know what I mean? It'd be crazy not to.
Ain't no other sight in the game, 'cause see the boxing voice.